and welcome to 3 Things in 3 Minutes. I'm Nersi. Today we are talking about Gunkimono from Renegade Game Studios. Plays 2 to 4 players, and it plays in about 45 to 60 minutes, and this is essentially based on the designer's previous game known as Heartland. In this game, it's a domino tile type laying area control game, and you have a set of tiles in your hand, and you are trying to lay them out on a board in an effort to make large groups that are of the same color, and these groups are called formations, and they will score you victory points and they'll score you honor points, and eventually throughout the game you will own a couple of these formations with strongholds, and they will generate points for you every round, and you'll keep laying them in an effort to try to control some of the tiles and the formations and wrest some of that control away from other people. And so things I like about this game, and one of the things I think is really interesting about this game is that the tile laying that you have, certainly in the earlier portions of the game, and that are just tiling to try to get these large formations, pretty quickly gives way to an interesting area control mechanic where once you have these strongholds, you control those formations for the rest of the game. And so there is an interesting puzzle that you're trying to figure out and laying down your tiles and figuring out, okay, what can I do to try to increase the size of my formations and or decrease the size of my opponent's formations in an effort to get myself more points and or to deny them points. And that's really something interesting that doesn't happen a whole lot in tile laying games. In spite of that, it actually has pretty straightforward rules, and the gameplay doesn't take very long to explain at all. And so while the strategy can get very complex, it's actually not a hard game to get into or learn. A few things to think about with this game. First of all, the board can look really overwhelming. There's a lot of complicated drawing and art, and when you look at that and look at the different colors and trying to figure out where to lay your tile, it can actually be pretty hard to figure out what your next move will be, and that can be really difficult for people who are prone to taking a long time making decisions because you have a lot of options in front of you. And I will say the colors are not terribly colorblind friendly if you have colorblind players as well. Also, the game relies a little bit on tile height, and as you stack them more, it limits what tiles can go next to them, and that height is a little bit hard to judge. And finally, like with any game where you're essentially drafting tiles, there is a little bit of luck involved in whether or not you can get a really great move or you're just waiting for that color combination that doesn't come up. So, in summary, it is a simple to grasp game, but has really challenging strategy to it, and the way the tiling puzzle leads to area control is actually really compelling. Just recognize that the board can be fairly overwhelming to look at. Thanks for watching, and please leave comments and subscribe.